Hi honeys, it's me, Sarah, and today I'm going to talk to you all about the social construct and concept of invisible debt. So, I don't know if invisible debt is a real term, but it is a term I use in order to explain and talk about certain situations. So what is invisible debt? Well, I would say it is the pressure and notion that you owe someone else. I feel as an international adoptee in an interracial family, it is something that I have been forced to interact with, especially in relation to the white savior complex and mentality. Granted, I don't feel you have to be adopted in order to experience invisible debt. This is just how I personally relate to it. So first, let me explain the white savior complex. The white savior complex refers to a white person who provides help to a non-white person in a self-serving manner. Adopted parents are often made out to be white saviors of international adoptees because they saved us from the terrible life we may have led had we not been adopted. Granted, we don't know if that's true or not. That's just how it often plays out in these interactions. And by no means am I saying if you adopt, you are automatically a white savior, because people adopt for all sorts of reasons, and not everyone adopts to prove that they are a gold medal humanitarian. I'm just saying in these interactions, this is the role the parent is normally cast in, and this is what I have experienced, but by no means am I saying this is necessarily true. This is just how it interacts with invisible debt. So I'm going to share with you all the best example from my own life of an invisible debt interaction. When I was around 5 years old, my adopted mother told my sister and I to pick out a toy. And you know when you don't really know if that's the toy you want, so you hold on to it as you continue to look. Well, my sister and I were continuing our search, and an older white woman stopped us and told us to put the toy back, and how we didn't deserve it and were being spoiled because our adopted parents already spent enough money adopting us. Yeah. So now that I'm older, I can definitely see and understand how messed up that interaction was. It's definitely one of those, what? Did that really happen? Okay, My sister remembers it the same way. I know that happened. Geez, it's just such a wild interaction where you're like, okay. But I want to share this story and interaction in a way that is productive. So I feel it's pretty obvious why the story enforces the concept that you as a person have invisible debt, but I'm going to break it down. So first, it reinforces the idea that the adopting parent is a white savior. By telling a child that their parents already spent enough money adopting them, they are reinforcing the idea that the child should feel so grateful for being adopted, and that the parents shouldn't have to spend any more money on the child because they did such a great deed by adopting the child. But then it goes further into saying, you are being spoiled for wanting toys like most kids do. To put it simply, you're saying, I owe my adopted parents for adopting me, and I'm undeserving of toys like a normal child because I'm not a normal child. I am adopted. I feel in these interactions sometimes the person is not seeing us as a real family, and maybe some of that is related to the fact that we are an interracial family. But in their minds and eyes, I'm not their real child. I am undeserving of things that you would normally provide for your child because I'm adopted and I owe them. This is problematic in my opinion, and it's a very toxic interaction to have with a stranger. Granted, this is my best example of an invisible debt interaction where it makes you feel like you owe your adopting parents, but this isn't the only example I have of this kind of interaction happening. A more subtle version is someone enforcing invisible debt may easily be overlooked, and they, the ones saying it, may not even realize why what they say can be interpreted negatively. So many times when you tell someone that you are adopted, someone may say something along the lines of, "Oh, it was so kind of them to have adopted you." Now, I want to put it out there that many people who say something like this do not have ill intent, but it does reinforce the idea that the adopting parent is a savior and they did something so generous and kind by choosing to adopt you. I think adoption is great, and I think it's wonderful if you choose to adopt, but I think the reinforcement by other people of the parent being the child's savior in a way that is different than if the parent were to give birth to the child is slightly unhealthy. I think it is slightly unhealthy because it creates this constant reminder that your adopted parents saved you, that you should be so grateful, that you owe them. And that can create this pressure that you need to be this perfect ideal child that you are not, just so you can repay your debt, when in all actuality, that may not be what your adopted parents want. But because of those invisible debt interactions that you have, it does affect you subconsciously potentially, and that can be very dangerous. I feel it can cause you to have a lot of self-hate and self-loathing, which ultimately causes you to have an unhealthy relationship with yourself sometimes. And that is why I think invisible debt is toxic. Even though you may not be feeling it because of your adopted parents, I think it's important for adopted parents to know and understand that your child may be having these interactions with strangers, and just to talk about these issues so hopefully we can all be kinder, more understanding, and more forgiving not only of others but also ourselves. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please click that like button if you like it, that notification bell so you know when I post my videos every single week, and subscribe so you can join me and hang out because I'm so cool. I'm not so cool. I'm an hot potato. Hi. Subscribe so you can join me. Bye, honeys. Mwah.